What's up, everybody? Welcome to Mongols. This is not a reaction show because there's nothing to react to. We've been the champs for a little over a week now. I am Mike Sparks. Joining me is Josh Brokaw and Steve Mattiace. Gentlemen, it has been a little over a week since the USL championship that the Hounds have officially won. A lot has happened in the past week, and there's a lot that hasn't happened in the past week. I think if nothing else, it's got the gears turning for me a little bit. So I thought it would be cool just to get together and talk through some of the stuff like we always do. But first, Josh, how was your Thanksgiving, man?
Good. Yeah, we had a whole bunch of friends over. We always do like a Friendsgiving thing. Liz cooks. She loves to cook, and we've been doing it ever since we moved to Pittsburgh because we both worked in retail. So could never go home for Thanksgiving. So we've been doing Friendsgiving ever since. Yeah, we had like a total of 10 people, including ourselves, at our house. So
Nice.
It's probably the biggest Friendsgiving has been for us in a while. But it was great. Yeah, it was a good time.
What's your favorite food from Friendsgiving?
So I'm always a fan. I got two. I like green bean casserole a lot.
Do you do like the onions on top?
Oh yeah.
Or no?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. Onions have to be on top as well. Yeah.
Okay.
The whatever, like the fried onion things.
Yeah.
But then also like stuffing is also something I just really enjoy. I don't know why. It's one of those things that you don't really think about having outside of Thanksgiving. So it's a pleasure to have it for every Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Steve, how was your Thanksgiving?
Really good. So this is second year in a row that my parents have come up from North Carolina, and my neighbors who are in their 60s, who are just wonderful people, came over as well. So really great. I cooked most everything, which is a lot of fun because, living by yourself, you don't want to cook big, complex meals regularly because there's so much work to do. But I made some progress on that. My parents came up a day early, and my dad helped me install a dishwasher. So I have a dishwasher now, and that makes my life really, really nice because it is one of my least favorite things to do around the house. So yeah, that's wonderful.
So I got lots of questions. We won't get too personal. You said you cook pretty much everything. What is your favorite thing to cook? And is it the same favorite thing to eat?
Oh, that's a good question. So favorite thing that I ate this year, because my parents came up a day early, my mom didn't make the pies she usually makes, but she made a cheesecake because that lasts a little longer. And cheesecake is my favorite dessert. Like years ago, mid 30s, I went and visited my family, and my niece, who was 14 at the time, and decided she didn't like nuts, and there's nuts in the crust. And when my mom makes the cheesecake, there's enough batter left over that she makes a little 6-inch cheesecake that would always go home with me. And so that was my cheesecake for years. 15 years, right? Or more. So I threw a hissy fit at 34, 35 years old. And that little cheesecake has been mine ever since. So that was my favorite. My favorite thing to cook is, so I don't cook a turkey because I think turkey is meh. It's fine. I'd rather have a really good chicken. And so I get chickens from the farmer's market and spatchcock them, dry brine them. And it's fantastic. Like, it's just the best way to eat chicken.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And nobody throws a fit that you don't make turkey?
No, everybody loves it because the chicken is so good.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Sorry. You guys will have to put up with my throat today. So
Mike, how was your Thanksgiving?
Right? Yes, thank you. That was not a segue, and that wasn't me prodding. We went to New York City to visit Jason, my other brother, for those of you who know Kevin. And it was great. It was the first time he ever hosted. Him and his partner, Will, they kind of have an apartment, and then their parents have the apartment next door. So we were able to crash there. Got out, walked around. It was 60 some degrees in New York. We went ice skating in Bryant Park. It was fantastic. Woke up Thanksgiving morning and couldn't breathe. It was just, I was so congested and felt like my head was in a vice. Slept until noon Thanksgiving Day, missed most of the day, sick. And then the next day we had to turn around and drive home. So it was hopped up on so much Dayquil just to get home. And then literally I told you guys, we were planning on taking my oldest son back to college today, but Meadville was projected to get a foot of snow today. So instead we took him back yesterday. We drove, so it was like after driving 6 hours back from New York and being completely run down, woke up yesterday morning and did basically 5 hours, 2.5 out and back to drop. There was like already 3 inches of snow at Meadville. It looked amazing, but it was just like, this was the right call. We had to do this. So I'm hoping that I'm fully recovered and back to work in order to go back to work tomorrow, which I'm not looking forward to, but it was fun. The kids had a good time. So yeah, can't really complain much.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, gentlemen, there's a lot of things that are kind of going on. One of the things I did not put on the agenda, but Josh, I do want to hear about. There was speculation about is the city going to do some sort of parade for the team? It sounds like that has not entirely been ruled out, but something that they did in the meantime was they had the team show up with the cup at a Penguins game, which you went to. Tell us how that went down.
Yeah, so basically, they had a small, like, little interview type thing. I think Susie Cool is now like the in-house announcer person who does stuff, but she used to work for the Riverhounds.
Yeah.
So I believe she was the one that interviewed the Hounds at the beginning of the game and had like a little, like, this is the cup and blah blah. You guys won in, and like they're lifting up the cup, and it was a lot of fun. And then from there, they brought it out into the Hall of Fame section of the stadium or of the arena, and had like pretty much a whole bunch of people just lining up and taking photos with the cup while the team was in their box seats watching the game. So it was there from like, I think the first 2 periods, the cup was there. But yeah, like literally, like we got there, Liz and I, probably about 10 minutes before the game started, 15 minutes. We got our gravy boat, our coveted, what do you call it? I don't know. It was some gravy boat thing that everyone was talking about, but we got that. And then we stood in line because the cup wasn't there yet. We're like, oh, we're just going to wait here for it to show up. And then we started second guessing ourselves. Like, what if they have like a ceremony thing on the ice or something like that with the team?
Yeah.
And we're going to miss it because we're going to be out here waiting for them to come in with the cup. So then we like rushed to our seats, which were super far away, like the exact opposite side of the arena. So we got like all the way over there, sat down like a minute before the game started, and then it was just like a little interview, and then that was it. It wasn't even on like the ice. It was like, I don't know if it was pre-recorded, but it was like not on the ice at all. So we're like, oh, we could have just stood there and waited, because then after that they brought the cup out. So then we went back down to where it was, stood in line. I saw a lot of people there with Hounds jerseys.
Yeah.
It was actually really cool. I like a lot of people I recognize because, a lot of the people who are on the bus with us and who are always in our section were there. But it's also people I didn't recognize. And we're like, oh, that guy has a Hounds jersey on. Oh, that guy has a Hounds jersey on. So, yeah, it was really cool. Got our pictures with it. Went back and sat and watched the rest of the game. I believe Dick and Mertz had an interview during the game as well. It was like a shorter type of just like a Pittsburgh soccer now, or not soccer now, but Pittsburgh Sports Net or whatever. They had the whole interview. And then, yeah, that was it. So it wasn't a lot to do with the Hounds. Like, I was expecting like maybe they'll show some clips or maybe they'll show some, cool highlights or something like that. But like, nah. But at the same time, it was also a fun game to watch. So
yeah.
What I love about that, Josh, is talking about all the people wearing Riverhounds gear, and it's just like that's what happens when you have a fun sports product and people are going, right? Like that's why they've been selling out, and then you start seeing it more and more, and that's a lot of fun to see.
And legit, like we are hearing reports like, so they have a new store at Robinson Mall. So instead of having all the gear and merch and all that kind of stuff at the stadium, and they're like doing like Black Friday sales at the stadium, they bought a storefront, rented out a storefront at Robinson Mall, and they have like a store there right now for all that stuff. And from what I've heard, we had multiple people show up there and like be like, it was busy. Like there's a lot of people in that store, and they were like running out of stuff pretty fast. Like it was pretty picked over. So that's good to hear. And then I went to Dick's Sporting Good today and found that they only had like a couple Hounds jerseys left, but they had a whole section where it was like Hounds, themed. I don't know if you've been to a Dick's and looked in there in Pittsburgh, but they usually have like the mannequin up there with the Hounds jersey on, and like a whole section where jerseys are. And there was like 5 jerseys left, if that, 2 Dick jerseys and like a home and 2 away jerseys, and that was like it. So it was, from what I understand, it was pretty full before. So,
and listen, I mean, I don't want to give anything away here, but I may have been on the team's online store for whatever reason, and I can tell you that the away kits are completely sold out, and the home kits are limited items remaining. So for those of you who are hoping to get a kit to sort of memorialize the season, if you haven't gotten one yet, you might want to do it like now, because you may not get one and you might have to wait until next year. So, Josh, I have to pull this up. Your wife just posted in the comments, you got recognized from the pod. What does that mean?
One of the employees at the Penguins game, he was like, "Hey, you're on Mongols, right?" I'm like, "Oh yeah." And then we had a little bit of a chat, talked about Mongols, and that was pretty cool. And I was not expecting to get recognized for Mongols at a Penguins game, so that was cool.
It's the reach, man. It's the reach, yeah. Well, that's cool. That's awesome. Okay, well, good. I mean, obviously, we'll see. It still feels like it just happened, that we just won, and it's been this thing. But obviously, the wheels of time just sort of keep turning, and so we're going to hear more about hopefully some additional celebrations within the city. I think that the synergy between the Penguins and the Hounds has been great. I forget which player it was, but I think it was the night that we won, the Pens were playing, and there was an interview with some player, and he just said, "Hey, how about those Riverhounds, huh?" And like skated away. And so like there's definitely some synergy there, which it makes sense to me. But it's growing, man. And I think that's one of the things that I kind of want to talk about here too.
Yeah. So I wanted, one thing we didn't get to talk about because we recorded or went live early last week, was meeting the team at the airport.
Oh, yeah.
And that got a lot of news coverage, which was cool. But I just want to give a shout out to the people that were on the bus and showed up for that, as well as there's a family that I know they listen to us that live up in Slippery Rock. And I mean, a whole family and I don't know whose mom, but like one of the parents' mom, so that go to almost all the home Riverhounds games, and they showed up. They're really close with Junior, which is cool. So it's just like a fun time to see a bunch of people there, and people start trickling in as they get in from the bus. And some of the players to have no expectation of that and to be totally surprised was a lot of fun. I had to give Danny a little bit of a hard time. I was like, "Danny, you knew we were going to be here. Why did you not gather everybody up?" And he's like, "Dude." And I was just like, "Yeah, you're exhausted." And I could see it because they were all just so tired.
Yeah. And I'm sure that they're, some of them are probably still tired. There were photos leaked out of them partying. Was it in Station Square with the cup, drinking out of the cup at some bar, pub somewhere?
I think it's that brewery in the Strip that like you order everything on your phone. I can't remember the name of it.
Well, there's Cinderland, and then there's also Aslan beer.
I think maybe Cinderland. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I
it
couldn't
looked
tell
like
where
that
it was
to
at
me,
either.
but I couldn't tell 100%.
Yeah.
I've only been there a couple times.
Yeah. So good times. Hopefully, the cup hasn't broken again. Or if it has, they'll just fix it. It's fine. Guys, couple of things that I did want to touch on. And we can really go down any rabbit holes you guys want to. One is the whole tattoo update. The plan is still to get the tattoo. I saw some images online of people who've already started getting tattoos, which is super. That's amazing. I think my original intention was like for us, at least the Mongols crew, we would like go together. But then Josh, you brought up the point, like this could take a while. And if it's just like one person, like we probably don't want to sit around for like 3 days while we all get tattoos. So we just need to figure out the logistics of timing and whether or not do we go as a group? Do we all just say like, let's all go get one and then like we share it? So we're still kind of working that out.
So I've got an idea.
Okay.
We have a recorded or live tattoo reveal party together.
Oh, okay.
Where we get together and like, yeah.
Okay. We could do that. That would be cool.
This just came to me. This is not like anything I thought about. Yeah.
Yeah. No, a reveal party would be cool. I wanted some way to at least document it and share it. So, okay, let's work that out. Because Josh, you kind of led on what you're thinking, but I don't know where. I've pretty much told you guys exactly what I'm getting. In fact, I'm not being very subtle about it right now. Steve, do you know what you're doing? And you don't have to tell us.
So
this
is why I don't actually have a tattoo yet, because I'm so indecisive about them. I am getting a tattoo. Okay. That will happen. I have played around with a bunch of ideas. I was like grabbing different elements of the crests and different things and trying to like mock them up in Photoshop the other day to get some ideas of what I like, what I don't. So I haven't settled on the final design. My guess is at the end of the day, it'll be really stripped down and simple.
Fair enough.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So stay tuned. If you are interested in being part of it, even if you get one and you just kind of want to like be part of the reveal, maybe we'll just do like a YouTube short or an Instagram reel or something of like all of the tattoos. So if you get one, send it to us, mongols3@gmail.com, and we will include it in whatever it is that we put together to sort of just commemorate. There's the word. Thank you. I was like, not commiserate. We're not like, commemorate.
We're not sad.
The event. We're not sad. We're very
This is the first postseason. We're not sad.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So it is happening, but yeah, let us know what you think. Guys, one thing that I had mentioned to you, and it caused a little bit of confusion just because I wasn't clear about it, but there's a number of teams that are already announcing their roster decisions for the offseason, which is typically something that we talk about. We're just never this late into the postseason to have to deal with it. We still don't know who our coach is. So at this point in time, I think we've all kind of talked about, do you give it to Rob? Do you not give it to Rob? Is Bob going to be back? Who knows? There's other people talking about it as well. The USL show did a good bit about it where they were talking about what do they think could happen, what the repercussions could be. Josh, do you have an expectation of when we'll hear something?
I think they have to know at this point who the coach, or at least I think they have to know who the coach is at this point, because like they kind of, you can't really have these, who's staying, who's leaving conversations without knowing who's going to be your coach, because that kind of is important for that person to be making those decisions, or at least be a part of those decisions. Yeah. So I seriously doubt they're having, no idea who the coach is at this point. And like players might decide if they want to stay or go, depending on what's going on. Like if it's like, hey, a whole new person's coming in, we have no idea how they're going to, if they're even going to want to use you as a, a starting player or not. Do you want to sign? And people are going to be like, I don't know about that. Like, that seems like I could be, a lot of unanswered questions there. Mm-hmm. So I feel like everything is hinging on them knowing who the coach is, and then having that person in the room to make the decisions if contracts are being extended or being offered to the current players. So, yeah, I think I would assume they already know, and those conversations are now happening. Because I can't imagine any of these players, like half these players aren't around right now. Like looking on Instagram, that kind of stuff. Most of these players have already left the country.
I was going to say, I had a conversation with Grubba, and apparently they were supposed to stick around this past week, and then they were out, they were gone. And so typically this past week is when they have those conversations with the players to figure out whose option are they picking up, who are they not. And that's what got me thinking they have to know. Steve, without naming names, you've had conversations where it's been very apparent that if it's one coach, they'd be interested in staying. And if there's one coach, they're definitely not interested in staying. How are you feeling about all of this at this point?
So I think a lot of that kind of is a reaction to Josh's comments, that I think the decision of Bob or not Bob was made a long time ago. The question that still lingers for me is, was Tuffy willing to pull the trigger and offer Rob a contract or not early enough that makes a difference? Or was he waiting and seeing? I'll be very clear. I don't see how you can't offer Rob a contract after what he did. A team that was not doing anything, losing a lot of games, and only got scored on once in 7 games, got 3 wins, 1 in the playoffs, and got both trophies in the playoffs, right? But won and drew the last 3 games of the season. And that one game where they did give up the goal was within a day of Rob taking over, right? And so it's like you see that there is just something different about this group of players under Rob. And that's putting aside how anybody got there, right? Like it's just this group of players we saw were really good when they had someone that believed in them. We talked about it last week, right? Like the pregame comments that Rob gave them. And just the conversations I've had with the players about the fun of playing together with Rob as the coach is really important. And so if it's not Rob, then I fear that Josh is wrong, that they don't have a coach lined up, because if they were trying to evaluate that, I don't know how you don't say yes to Rob, but if they got knocked out in the second round, would you maybe have said no to him then? Right. And so when did they make that decision? If they already made that decision, and where does that put them? I just have no idea. And so I have a lot of questions about who our coach will be, when that decision was made, and why a week later we haven't heard anything yet. That slightly concerns me. That is that just you're going to let things play out, let people enjoy the championship win, or not? Like personally, I'd enjoy it a lot more if I knew Rob was back next year, right? Like that to me is like, we want it and Rob's back, right? Like I that's what I want, right? Like that's where I'm at this point. And so, yeah, I think to your point, Mike, that there are players that we stand a really good chance of re-signing if Rob is the head coach. I'll qualify that with, we still have to recognize the economics of the Riverhounds in the USL. And there will be players that we'll talk about that will not come back. And I also want to mention there are players that are out of contract that could have already pre-signed a contract with another team well before Rob took over at the end of the season. And so it may have nothing to do with whether they want to play in Pittsburgh under Rob or not, or someone else. They could have already made that decision because they felt their option was Bob or elsewhere.
Yeah. Before we get into the players, just thinking about this from an outsider's perspective, can you imagine if you're a team that is struggling in the USL and you're looking for a new coach, and all of a sudden the coach that literally just won the USL championship it becomes available? Like from Pittsburgh's standpoint, it almost feels to me like, I'm purely speculating, I have nothing here, but like I would almost think that it's almost more Rob's decision of like, do you want to be the head coach in the USL at this point in your career, or were you thinking your trajectory was going somewhere else? Because otherwise, to be in a situation like we're in, where clearly, I say clearly, there obviously we've gone back and forth and a lot of people feel differently, whatever. It felt like we were headed in the wrong direction. And there's a lot of stats that we can pull up from sort of the past few years that kind of point to the fact that the team was headed in the wrong direction under Lily. To instantly have this kind of get out of jail free card that Vincent steps in, and we're going to talk about winning the cup now, almost feels like it happened maybe a year or two before we were even ready for it. And now we're in this great situation, and there's all of these ripple effects that happen because we won the cup. To just like throw that away to bring in somebody else that you're not really sure about, it's not a sure thing, feels like even more of a risk to me than something just like Rob's been here forever and this just makes sense.
I don't disagree with anything you're saying, Mike. I do have to recognize, though, that if I'm another team and Rob is not the Riverhounds coach, do I take that risk? I don't know. Like, is he proven enough for that? And for the Hounds and for Rob, you have to approach this with a bit of caution, I think, because the reality is Rob didn't build this team.
Right.
We've talked about the issues with Bob Lilly many, many times. And so that's what it is, right? But we do recognize that Lilly has been really good at identifying, bringing in young talent and developing that talent. And that's an unknown for Rob, right? That's an unknown for Dan Visser. And so there's a lot of things that my hopes are high, right? But got to wait and see.
I mean, just not play devil's advocate or anything like that, but kind of like some of the things we do have to, realize is, okay, so he comes into this team October 11th, I guess, would be the head coach, acting head coach. I believe the 10th was when the Lilly departure got announced. So I'm guessing that was like the day of. So there are 2 games where there was, multiple goals, which is great. We had the one against Indy where we won 2-1, and then we had the one against Monterey Bay where we won 3-0. So that's great. But then like after that, 0-0-0-0-0-0-0, or sorry, 1-0 and then 0-0. Yes, not losing is great, but that's not a lot of wins under Rob. So it's not like he had a stellar performance as far as, getting us wins. Now, with those 0-0s, most of those being in the playoffs, and that means that with the shootout, that's, we advanced on those, but we didn't really win on those. We advanced. As Dan Yost likes to point out, if you ever ask him about the playoffs, he would get so upset when everyone said, "Hey, we won the games." Like, no, we did it. We advanced. But I guess the point I'm making here is his record isn't like all roses here. It is, getting by with a whole bunch of draws and shootouts, which, even Dick says are pretty much just luck. He's like, I don't know. I shouldn't save any of these. I'm just going to guess and hope for the best. And they all worked out for us. So now I do think he's being a little bit modest there, because you do have to have some intuition there and be able to, have the instincts. So yeah, that's great. But with that in mind, he didn't pick this team. He didn't scouts. He didn't really win that many games under, his short tenure. So there are reasons why a organization might be like, maybe we don't go with the new coach who doesn't have that much experience. I think they should. I would love Rob to be our head coach. And I think the players will rally behind him. And I think he's proven that. And it is his job to lose now. Like, let it ride on him and be like, all right, you prove us, show us what you got. And this season in 2026 is going to be that make or break for him. But at the same time, if they happen to find a really, seasoned coach that has, availability, and now that we have the hype on our side and it's a high profile position at this point, and players are going to be like, oh, I could go to a team that just won the championship. Like, there's a lot there that might be attractive to a coach that actually is seasoned. Like, do you pass that up because you have Rob, who got a whole bunch of draws and was able to get us the championship? I hope they do. It is risky, though. There's no doubt about it.
And I want to, right. So we're talking about a sample size of 7 games, right? Yeah. Let's look at the results of those games as if there's no advancement, right? Like, there's no tournament cup, right? It's 1.75 points per game, which puts him squarely in the middle of Bob's previous 8 seasons. And so I think that is just something that, for me, it's like, sure. But I also look at, like, yes, he's using Bob's players, but he's also adapting a system that was Lilly's system. And what does it look like to give Rob the chance to develop his own system with his own players over time? To me, that's an exciting proposition that I hear everything you're saying, but like, that's what I want, right? Like I would rather us go all in with Rob, try to re-sign as many players as he and Dan think are best for the future, and try something different. And if it fails, it fails, and then you move on. But why not, right? Like, you're not bound by the defensive only mindset that we've had for 8 seasons if you let Rob take over.
So I think hiring Rob, to me, would feel most like the most recent time that we've brought in a new coach was Scott Gibson for the Riveters. And hiring Rob feels most in line with how they came about with that decision to bring in Scott. So I'm 1,000% in your guys' corner. I think that Rob should be the new coach. Now, to play devil's advocate as well, the one thing that did cross my mind is, as you guys were saying this, we've announced our intention to be a D1 team in like 2 years. And we're going to have a massive stadium, and we're going to have, we have, as Liz pointed out, we have this amazing training facility. We have all of these amenities, and everything is headed in the right direction for Pittsburgh. So if you are a D1 caliber coach, is that going to be attractive for you to come in, take over the team a year or two before D1 happens, and then that's who you stick with? Versus for us, we're all attached to Rob. We all like Rob. Do we feel confident that Rob could coach at a D1 level?
I think if you are at that level where you think you are a competitive coach at a D1 level, right? Like, so our analog for that is MLS.
Yeah.
And obviously the money is not the same, both on the player side and the coaching side. But do you think that any USL team is going to, 2 years before going D1, poach a guy like that when they don't have the infrastructure in the organization to kind of oversee that, right? Like it's the question I've been asking for the past 2 years. Where is the oversight of building the organization from a soccer perspective? Where is the general manager for sporting operations with this team? And so I kind of feel like it's almost the opposite, Mike, that maybe Rob can do that and we don't know. Let's give him 2 years to run up to that and then see what happens. And if it doesn't work, well, then you go after someone with a bigger name and a stronger pedigree and a better record of success in 2 years to make a splash going into D1.
Right. I also feel like us winning gives you enough of a cushion that if Rob doesn't work out, you could say he literally just won the championship. Like no other coach last year won the championship. So if it doesn't work out, like you can't fault us because like he just won the championship. So they have a kind of a really long leash with giving him a shot. So, and
it doesn't need to work out for me next year. I'll be honest.
For you, yes, but like Pittsburgh loves winners, and
sure,
right now we have this momentum and we have this hype. If we go into next season and we're complete crap and we're losing every single game because all the wheels are falling off, like that leash is not as long as you think. That leash is going to be tethered right away. So there is risk here. Like I don't want it to be all rose-colored glasses here, especially with the thought that Rob, he's just untested in this situation. Like he hasn't had to build a team and all that stuff. Like we've already talked about this, but yes, like it is going to be a risk to go with Rob. I think it's worth doing. And I also think that I have trusted him to actually do it. And the people around him are great. So like, let's go for it. But I also think we could see momentum fall off if, we go into next season and we lose the first 5 games or something like that. Like that's not gonna be there for very long.
Yeah, I think it's fair.
Yeah.
And I think this could also be where Visser really kind of puts his stamp on things too, because we know that he was much more hands-on helping Scott build out the Riveters roster than he has necessarily been in helping Bob build out the Hounds rosters. Like he's involved, but it was more or less Bob kind of telling him, these are the guys I want, go make it happen. And less of him trying to find the pieces. So big fan of this. We'll sort of see what announcements are made. Like I said, other teams are already announcing who they're keeping, who they're signing. So you're going to start to hear some movement here quickly because literally it's January. Like typically we start having what do they call them? Not auditions. Combines. They start having combines in December and they start training camp in January. So like we're there. You got to start doing something. So stay tuned. One of the other things that the USL show talked about that I think is exciting is for years we've talked about losing really good players to teams like Louisville, who have won, who, losing players to teams like Phoenix or Tampa, who have gone really far, and they have this pedigree of winning. And I know winning the cup in 1 year doesn't necessarily do that, but it does elevate you in a way that good players want to play on good teams. And so this could potentially open the door for us to get maybe a slightly more seasoned talent within the USL, rather than having to always pick from sort of the collegiate ranks, which has worked out well in some cases, and in some cases it hasn't. But that will be interesting as well, is what kind of sandbox can we be playing in now that we have a cup, and who wants to come play with us versus us trying to have to convince people to stay, or trying to convince people to come to us, especially, earlier in their career.
And I think it was Keller who said it on the USL show that not Bob Lilly is a part of that as well.
Right.
And that's important, that you listed teams that players have gone to because of the opportunity. But we've also had a number of players that have said, I'm not going to re-sign a contract with the Riverhounds no matter what to play for Bob Lilly.
Yeah.
And that's a reality that has existed for the past 8 years.
Yeah. So guys, I have a list here of players. I wasn't necessarily, I felt like this was early to do it, but in any other season, it would be early to do it. Now that we're here, this is when we would typically be having this conversation. Unfortunately, I did not put together a graphic. For those who are watching, I apologize. So we're just going to kind of talk through each one of these positions. And I'm just curious where you guys stand on this. I think the worrying thing, as we talk about sort of players staying, going, leaving, and I also don't want to dampen the enthusiasm. We did just win the cup a little over a week and a half ago, so we don't want to bring the temperature down at all. But the reality is we only have 4 players that are under contract for next year. Asumanu, Charles All, Etu, and Brigham Larson. And Asumanu and Larson primarily came off the bench this season. So Hall and Etu, who started for the most part towards the end of the season.
At least at the end, yeah.
Yeah, then they're definitely back. But otherwise, we have a whole lot of free agents and a whole lot of options. One potential piece of this is, you could bring Vincent back and just try to re-sign as many people as you can so that you have that same team. But I do think that there are some places that we can probably improve. And so I'll be interested just to sort of get your guys' thoughts. I didn't really have a rhyme or reason as to how we go through this, but maybe we just go through each player and you guys say keep or let go, and we'll just kind of run through the list. Steve, to your point, I feel like there's going to be some guys regardless who, even if we want to keep them, even though we won the cup, they might get offered buttloads of money somewhere else. They might get other opportunities somewhere else. The unknowingness of the coaching situation might be enough for them to say that it's I'm going to go someplace that's a little more stable. And so I don't necessarily fault anybody for that. We've said this in this past, especially guys who decide to go out and play in MLS or take a shot at MLS. Great. We understand that this is your career, and guys that go and make substantially more money somewhere else, even if the team doesn't do well, totally understood. You have to make a living, which is a whole nother topic that we can get into maybe in the next episode. The whole USL
cough. Yeah. Teams like Rhode Island.
Well, the whole USL Players Association thing and the lack of a true celebration is a whole topic in and of itself. I'd love to actually have one of the players on to talk about it if they would talk about it. Maybe Robbie would, because he's actually part of the.
Which is why he needs to sign a new contract.
Which is why he needs to sign a new contract so we can talk to him. Yes,
we can't talk to him without it.
Right. So, with all of that said, let's just kind of go through and talk about at least the situation with each of the players, and then I'll just do rapid fire. And if you guys need to hem and haw about a player, that's fine. But we'll just kind of do this quickly because I know where are we on time here? We're already at 40 minutes, so we don't want to take too long. But okay, so from the keeper situation, nobody is under contract right now. Eric Dick is a free agent. Ben Martino has a team option, so we could sign him if we want to. And Jacob Randolph is a free agent. I'm assuming you guys both want Dick back?
Yeah,
essential.
He's one of the stars of the season, and he definitely has, like, if you can get him back, get him back. But he's also going to be one of the most sought after keepers in our, like, pretty much in the league, I feel like. Yeah. But something else I just wanted to say about him, I know we're supposed to be quick, but this will be one of my longer ones for our players. In the old system, the Lily system, I've always felt like the keeper was kind of, who cares? Yeah. Because it doesn't get to the keeper often. If we are going to be a more attacking team, like the team that we've seen under Vincent, we need a keeper who is reliable and who is going to make those big saves. Dick is that keeper. So got to keep him, or a caliber keeper like him, if you want the system to work. And then as far as the other ones, Randolph is the only one I'm like, okay, maybe. Like I'm cool if we keep him, but I don't think we need Randolph. Martino, he's under an option. Bring him back. He's an RDA kid. Like he's cheap. Yeah. Well, he has the Riverhounds history, so I feel like you keep him, and he probably actually wants to stay around.
Yeah. All right. So we're saying keep Dick, keep Martino, maybe let Randolph explore other pastures. I like Jacob, but I agree with that.
And I'll say, even if you don't sign, that you can't re-sign Eric Dick. I think you can find a keeper that has more experience than Jacob Randolph to bring in, rather than trying to give him the number one spot when he's played 8-10 games over the past 2 seasons.
I mean, I felt like when they re-signed him that there was hope that he would get more time this season, and they kept going back to Dick. I mean, Dick had a few times that he was a little bit shaky and Randolph stepped in, but Dick always came back. So I had to dance that carefully. Let's move on to defenders.
All right.
So again, we only have one defender that is under contract, and that's Alal Asumanu. Let's just try to run. I won't list all. Well, let's do this. We have 2 that are free agents, Luke Biasi and Sean Suber.
And you do whatever you can to sign those 2 players. And that is my fear, that those guys have already signed pre-contracts somewhere else.
Yeah.
That's the biggest fear I have about anybody on this list.
I think I'm less worried about Luke, because Luke is one of the most tenured guys here. So even if Bob was staying, like Bob, he might be like, it's fine, I'll stay. No. You don't think? You're shaking your head, Josh.
I don't know anything, but just like looking at his social media lately and like how it's the vibes I'm getting.
You think he's out?
I think he's out. I think he's already signed somewhere. He's already moved away, and like I think he's out. Unfortunate, but at the same time,
to be clear, this is not firsthand knowledge.
No,
but there is a reliable rumor that his girlfriend lives somewhere else, and he may just be there with her. The problem is there is a USL Championship team in that city.
Yeah, but like going off of Biasi though, like I do think there's a lot of good options to pick up here that are going to be great. Like it would suck to lose Luke, but I do think like getting Vactor back, getting Beto back, like there's options here that will be fantastic to have back. And like Vactor healthy, like he was great. Like, so I don't know. I'm not really worried. Like seeing all these options, I'm actually thinking we're pretty set. Obviously, there's some hiring that needs to be done because replacing Biasi is going to be rough. And Suber as well. Like I think we should try to get Suber back. But I think you do pick up options for like Yadarak and Vactor.
Yeah.
Broughton, I'm okay.
Hold on, you're getting ahead of us. Hold on a second.
Sorry, I'm just going through the whole defender list here.
I know. I was just gonna say, I think I agree that I would kind of do everything I could to bring back Biasi and Suber. I think those two. I think Biasi brings a physicality and a tenacity to a team that we don't really have anywhere else. Nobody else plays that way. And so I would really like to see them both back, but I could also understand if either of them are like, it's been real, I'm going to go try something else elsewhere, especially depending upon the coaching situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in favor of bringing them both back. Now, Josh, to your point, the everyone else at this point is under option. So Osimano's under contract. We just talked about Biasi and Suber. Barnes, Max Broughton, Beto, and Vactor all have an option on them. Mm-hmm. So the question I would ask you is, and we'll make this tough, if you can only bring back 2 of those 4 guys that have an option, Steve, who are you bringing?
No, that's not how this works, Mike. I'm not going to answer your question. I'm going to
play the game.
There are 3 that you pick up the option on, because the option, you know what it costs.
So you're not picking up Max Broughton's option?
I'm okay if they do. I'm okay if they don't. I haven't seen enough of him to be convinced one way or the other. Yeah. I think that the fact that he came in and trained with this team for an entire year, I want to recognize the strengths that Bob Lilly had, and that is building players' skills over time. It's been my complaint that they then leave after a little bit of time. So could Max step into a starting role next year and be really good? Sure, he could. I just don't know enough yet. I haven't seen enough yet.
And I think especially this preseason, the way that Max was being used, a lot of us thought that he would get a lot more time this season than he did. And so the fact that they had to bring in Vactor and like it kind of makes me think he's not there yet.
That's fair.
So I think I agree. I think if you're not bringing anyone back from that option list, and this feels obvious, it's like, who's the guy who got the least amount of time? Oh, Max Broughton. Yeah, don't bring him back. Like I get it. And I also understand that teams need to evolve. And so you can't necessarily look, this team we sincerely thought was not going to make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. And then they went off and they won the cup. So does that mean that this is the best team that the Hounds have even had in the past 10 years? Probably not. You're going to have to refresh and change some things in multiple places. But yeah, I think, E-Track coming in his first year, I think definitely made an impression. I could see him taking a step up in the next year. Barnes, I think, surprised a lot of people. I think I agree.
I do want to qualify this discussion just in especially with the defenders and the midfielders is we talked about, we don't know who our coach is,
right?
Which means we don't know what the system is going to be,
right?
Yeah. Do all of these players fit in, and is that part of the decision making? So we're answering these questions based on history, not necessarily based on the future.
Ron Vincent could come in and be like, I want to play 4 at the back. And like that changes everything, even though he was playing with the team that primarily played 3 at the back. So it could all change. Okay. Let's talk about midfielders. So we have 2 midfielders that are currently under contract, Charles All and Junior Etu. We have a whopping 5 free agents, and we have 2 that have options. We're going to start with the options because Jason Borgi and Garcia both have options. Do you pick up either of those options at this point?
I can see picking up Garcia. I do think he had some clutch games off the bench that he was reliable there. And the problem is he was also kind of brought in to score goals. Sometimes it felt like it's like, hey, we need someone to score a goal. Let's bring in Garcia. And it's like, well, he's a midfielder and like we didn't score a lot of goals. So that's the only one I'm like, I would be okay with bringing him back, Garcia.
Yeah. Steve, do you bring either of them back?
Borgia, you don't, because the only thing we saw from him was speed. Garcia, you bring back if you know what the system is going to be and he fits that system.
Yeah,
I think that's fair. Now, this is the most difficult bit. We have, like I said, 5 free agents: Danny Griffin, Robbie Mertz, Aiden O'Toole, Bradley Sample, and Jackson Walty. So literally the heart of our midfield are all free agents. I think the one that most of us would probably be okay with is probably O'Toole, because he's been in and out and he's injured and like we've seen a little bit of him. The other 4 guys, Griffin, Mertz, Sample, and Walty, have literally been the centerpieces.
Mhm.
How concerned are you that any of them just leave on their own?
Walty, I could see not coming back. I feel like Walty had a great beginning of the season, but near the end wasn't really getting much play and felt kind of like, I don't know. I just could see that. I want him to come back. I think Walty's great, but that one was one I'm like, I don't know if it will happen.
So I think down the last half of the season, Brad Sample took the job from Walty when Walty had some challenges, and Walty couldn't find a way to work his way back in. But I think if you are looking at, so I'll answer a similar question, Mike. If you're looking at 3 of these 5, then it's Robbie, Danny, and Jackson for me.
Is there any chance?
And that's not any shade on Brad Sample. It's just that the way that I want to see these guys playing, Jackson pushes Danny up further than Brad does. And I think that's important.
I would say, I think you're crazy. I think Sample is the person you bring back. I mean, obviously, like, here's the thing. Okay. Mertz, he's either retiring or coming back. Like, there's not like, there's never.
Robbie's not playing anywhere else.
He's not playing unless somehow, beyond possibility probably, but an MLS team picks him up right now, which at this age, at this time, not going to happen. So he's a Hound. So he's either retired or a Hound. Griffin, I kind of feel similar about Griffin. That was going
to be my question. Is there any chance that Mertz and Griffin aren't back next year in your mind?
I'm just going to say this, Danny, it's not a good time to sell a house. So you need to stay in Pittsburgh. Yeah. Like, you Griffin's might as well do what you're best at instead of trying to switch careers at this age. You're too young for that.
Yeah, I feel like those 2 are back. So even though they say free agent, I don't consider them free agent. I think those ones are options, basically. If we want them, they'll be here. And I think we want them.
Yeah, I think we want them as well. I think that Griffin, if you were asking me to pick 3 guys that I think we should absolutely sign that are free agents, I think Griffin, Mertz, and Dick. Yeah, they've kind of become, Mertz and Dick in particular have become the face of the club over the past few months. So to lose that, I think that would hurt a little bit. Let's talk about forwards. This is where it gets really interesting, because I think that we talked a little bit about, Steve, you rattled off the scores of the games throughout the playoffs, the scores during the time that Vincent was in charge. How much of that was the fact that Vincent couldn't coach them to score more goals versus how much of that was who he had at his disposal to score goals and whether or not he can make that happen? There's a lot
how
of
much
there.
Of that is these players were playing in a system with a confidence level that just was not great, and with a fresh start could be different.
Could be too.
Even a fresh start in Pittsburgh.
Correct. So in terms
but I don't know, right?
Right. In terms of the forwards, there's 4 forwards under the roster. Brigham Larson is the only one who's under contract for next year. So he came in. We saw him sparingly used, primarily towards the end of games, just to try to run stuff out. He was played a little bit more aggressively towards those end of games with Vincent in charge. A lot of times we just didn't see him, not even on the bench with Bob. The other guys all have options. So if we want them, they come back. So Boone, Jacqueline, and Augie Williams. Steve, are you bringing any of those 3 back? Josh is shaking his head.
So I don't have enough info about available forwards to
who do you replace them with?
Right. Yeah. And so for me, the question centers around Augie Williams, that I think that the system didn't suit Augie. Augie did his best and had a lot of just like chipping away at his confidence throughout the season because of the frustration and being asked to do things that are not his natural skill set. I think if you are willing to bring him back, you have to change how you use him and allow him the freedom to be the forward that he is. And that's the question, right? Like what other forwards are out there? And I don't know that you bring in. I'm sure Dan and Rob or Coach knows some of those options. But I think that of those three, he's the one to me that makes the most sense to bring back. That what we got out of Jacqueline this year, that's replaceable with a player from around the USL. Liked everything I saw from Boone, but is that enough to bring him back? I just don't know. But I also don't know what his contract is. Is his option cheap? If it is, then we'll see him back.
Right. Josh, you were shaking your head. How do you feel about this?
I mean, I was going a money situation here. I think for what we paid for Williams, I just don't think you bring him back. I think that's a lot of money to pay for a forward who did not have a good season for us, honestly. Like he, had an average season for a forward, but not for the money we paid probably. So I don't think you bring him back. I think Jacqueline, depending on what his contract is, I have no problem with Berton. Like I feel like with the right other forward to play off of is great. We've seen what he can be. If he's cheap, bring him back. I mean, and with Boone, I feel like that contract has to be pretty negligible. So bring him back. Like I thought Boone was good. We didn't see enough of him. He only played half the season, and I'm fine with him coming back.
But he got us over the finish line.
Oh, he did. Like I'm no complaint. That hitting that bar really
made my heart skip a beat. Yeah,
oh,
man, come on.
Ooh. But yeah, especially being told that he had terrible PKs the whole practice beforehand. Like, oh yeah, he did make a single one. Like, don't tell me that. But anyway. Boone, I like what I saw of him. I do think he's an off the bench type player. He's not going to be our starter. And if he is our starter, we have a bigger issue. So yeah, this is the one place though where I'm like, whatever you guys want to do, I'm not going to have heart wrenching, palpitations if I find out that you didn't sign any of them. I'm like, all right, cool. Do forwards. Let's see how we go.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with everything you guys said. I think for me, it comes down to money. And Josh, your point about how much we paid for Williams, I can't imagine that the option would be cheap. And so to Steve's point, who else is out there and what can you do? And if you can't,
and are they cheaper? That is part of that question.
Right.
I don't know. That's not something that I think we can comment on. That's what they have to figure out. And so it goes either way in terms of what will actually happen with him for me.
I know we're getting close to that. I just want to play this either or game real fast.
Yeah.
If you could replace Williams with Chico, do you do it? Do you bring Chico back after the season he had? Are you sure?
Yeah,
he
gives better hugs.
He gives better hugs. I don't know. I don't see Chico grabbing smoke out of the Steel Army's hands and celebrating with the Steel Army. I'm just saying.
But we've never had that moment where he had the opportunity.
Yeah. I see. I can't say that definitively. I know as a person, I feel like. Not anything against Augie. I mean, we've talked to Augie. Augie's great, but I think that Chico has a special place in a lot of people's hearts. Already took a picture with Danny Griffin that they posted online together because they're hanging out together again. So I know that there's some sentimental value there.
Yeah.
But who's to say that whatever system we play next year would fit Dequa? I don't know.
That's a big fear because we've seen that the system matters for him because he did not perform for Rhode Island. And what was that about? It's not like he's a different player. He's the same player, and we know how good he can be. And he was not that for Rhode Island at all. So it is a scary, I don't feel as sure as I used to. Yeah. I still think Chico is our new Angulo watch. I don't know if you guys remember that from back in the day. Every single season's maybe we'll get Angulo back.
Yeah,
maybe we'll get Angulo back. But I do feel like that's kind of what Chico has, become for us. Where it's oh, maybe this could be the season we get him back. That'd be really cool.
Yeah. Well, that is what we think. Let us know what you think, guys. As I mentioned, we're getting towards the point where a lot of this stuff is going to have to be announced soon. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure that in an upcoming episode, we're going to be talking about who's staying, they never actually say who's going. They just say who's coming back. And then it's kind of left open-ended as to, there might still be the opportunity to bring these guys back. We just have to negotiate a new deal kind of thing. So more often than not, it's going to be, you're going to hear about the guys whose options are picked up. Mm-hmm. And so that's where we're really going to get antsy because a lot of those midfielders are free agents. So unless they can lock them down, they're not going to be on that first list. and like Eric Dick probably won't be on that first list, and we're all going to be sitting there antsy about what's going to happen. But that doesn't mean they won't be brought back. So hopefully there have been a lot of conversations, and a lot of these decisions have already been made behind the scenes, and we will hear about them all at the same time. But we will have to wait and see. Guys, as I mentioned, there is a lot of other news. We didn't touch on the whole USL Players Association t-shirts things the fans were doing at the stadium as well. Did that have repercussions on the actual celebration after the fact? The Riveters have started signing players again, so we could talk about everything that's going on the Riveters side. So just so much stuff going on, but this felt like the most pertinent stuff at the moment. Is there anything else that you guys wanted to touch on here before we get out of here?
No off season for the podcast. I'm just saying, we got plenty to talk about.
I feel like we say this every year. We're like, we're going to take a break, and then we never take a break. We just keep going. We're not doing.
Just accept it, embrace it.
Yeah, we're not doing 4 shows a week like we were at the beginning of this season, but we're definitely going to be doing at least once a week. So, as always, we appreciate the support. Thank you, everyone, for watching, listening, commenting in real time. We do read them, and sometimes put them up on screen. We have a lot more stuff that's coming for you. As we mentioned, if you're interested in maybe being part of the tattoo reels short something, once we figure it out, email us at mongols3@gmail.com. Let us know. Or if you've already gotten it done, just take a picture of it and send it to us. We'll include it that way as well. We will let everyone know those details as soon as we know it, hopefully this week. I was hoping maybe next weekend to go get mine, but we'll see what everyone else's availability is like and if that's even possible. But definitely before the holidays, I want to get this thing done. Yeah. Otherwise, thanks, everybody. We will be back with more Hounds and Riveters content for you very, very soon.
Later.
See ya.